So yeah. So Linda has started the recording. I'm Orla. I'm Senior Grants Officer. Many of you will probably have heard from me or seen my name somewhere in the recent past. And this is my colleague Linda, Live Here, Love Here coordinator. And so just to give you a bit of background, it's really just myself and Linda now within the Live Here, Love Here department. We've had a lot of changes over the last few months. So I suppose I would kick off by saying if we've been slow to get back to you or if there's been delays in any responses, there's a very good reason for that. We're very under capacity. We've had some staff move on and some redundancies, and we're in the process of kind of rebuilding as we go into the autumn. So we're doing our best. So hopefully we've given you enough information on the out of offices that you're getting, the messages and also the emails that have been coming through. And then we decided, I know a lot of you have been trying to phone, etc. as well. So we thought, well, look, why don't we just do a session where people have us and can use that opportunity, and we'll try and answer and cover off as many queries as people might have. So that's really the purpose for this session. It's not formal at all. It's really just to have a quick chat, have a chat, find out what your questions or queries are. We did run a couple of biodiversity webinars, and we've got those recordings on our YouTube channel, which are full of loads of useful information. So yeah, and I suppose I would say also that we're very aware that some of you are maybe still waiting on payments coming through. Again, that's in traction. It's from an administrative point of view, there have been some delays getting those monies released down. So just to let you all know that we're working on it really hard, and we're doing our best to get that money out to you. And don't be panicking is what I would say about the timelines that were originally stated in your letter of offer. I am in the process of having a review and a rethinking on how that might all flow. So if you haven't received any money by now, which is highly likely, don't be overly worried about timelines, etc., etc. We're doing our best, and we'll keep you informed every step of the way. So yeah, unusual times for us within small grants, but we're delighted. We have supported 116 groups across Northern Ireland this year, and it was an extraordinarily competitive round. We received almost 500 applications. So if you are on this call, or if you did receive a small grant, you are one of the lucky ones. I really have to say, you really are. And it was so competitive. It was unreal. So what I would say about that then is that hopefully you have the full intention to really deliver your project and see that through to the end and spend all your money. Because last year we had a lot of people kind of pull out halfway through, and they had challenges and things like that. So please spend all your money. That's what we're asking. So I have spoken enough, so I am going to open the floor to anybody who has any burning questions about anything relating to their grant. And you can ask myself, and I'll do my best to help, or Linda as well is here, and we'll do our best to help in any way. And as I say, it's not too formal, so feel free to fire away. And you can raise your hand or pop it in the chat if you're not on video. Nobody? Oh, Kathy?
Is that me?
Did someone did someone raise their hand? No? No.
Anyway, I did have a question, actually.
Well, brilliant. I maybe I psychically honed in on you there. Sorry, Kay.
I'm a volunteer, and for Women's Aid, and they have a small grant. I'm not really too involved with the small grant, but I was wondering how the diversity fits into that. Is the diversity part of the small grant, or is that a separate grant?
What diversity?
Biodiversity.
Sorry?
The biodiversity.
Oh, the biodiversity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I assume whoever applied for the grant has put a proposal forward to us, and we've awarded them funding, and that would be relating to planting, I would imagine. The purpose of the grant is to green up a space. And that's the primary aim and primary focus. So that's where that would come in.
Okay.
I will put there is a link on our Live Here, Love Here website to a biodiversity page where there's a lot of links on there for growing and planting and bug hotels, homes for wildlife, etc. So I'll put the link in the chat if there's anything there that's about biodiversity you want to have a wee look at.
No, it was really good, that link. I liked all the pollinator stuff, and I'm going to use it as a lot of the basis for what we're going to buy for planting.
Are you doing a sensory garden? What is it you're doing, Kathy?
It's really just it's rejuvenating the garden. It's there, so it's more sort of replanting it and stuff.
Replanting it, yeah.
I want to make it more biodiverse than what it was.
Well, there you go, and all those tips and tricks are there, and loads of lovely ideas for the types of plants for the autumn, plants for every season of the year. That's all on there, and herbs are a big one as well. So
and the native planting as well. I was interested in it.
We're very keen on all of that. I mean, that's kind of the primary purpose. Being an environmental charity, we're all about kind of enhancing environmental benefit as far as we can with these grants. So that's great. There's a wee question in the Q&A. Do you need receipts for any or all money spent under the grant, Jerry? Yes, you do. Okay. So the way that this works, we have a how to claim your grant PDF essentially that we'll be circulating to you. And yes, whenever you will have received your letter of offer, and within that letter of offer it states the procurement terms. So anything up to 300, you're not going to need double quotes on, but you certainly do need to have receipted evidence and bank statement evidence. That's the only way that we'll be able to pay you back and verify your claim. What I would say to you is that we would encourage you to kind of group your items as much as possible. So, try not to be submitting a receipt for £1.44 or a receipt for £2.50. If you can group it into tools or plants or materials, depending on what way your budget looked whenever you made your application. And the way that we would expect to see that would be, for argument's sake, if you got £100 for plants, we would expect to see an invoice for £100 or receipts totaling £100 from wherever you purchased your plants from. And then alongside that, we would expect to see a bank statement showing that £100 being paid out, and whether that be in incremental stages, whether it be £30 here, £60 here, but we need that traceability of all spend in order for us to pay you back your claim. So Jerry, no, there is a deadline for spend. Your letter of offer currently states that the deadline for all spend is the 31st of October. So as it stands today, that still stands. However, I am in the process of reviewing that. So I would encourage everybody to carry on with their projects as far as you can. I know that a lot of you are waiting on money. So insofar as you can, carry on with your projects. And the deadline, as in your letter of offer, is currently the 31st of October. However, there may be a change to that, but I would wait to hear from us on any kind of formal update. I wouldn't take that as read just at the moment. So do your best to get spending if you can. I mean, we fully appreciate some groups can't cash flow their own projects, but if you can at all, we'd encourage you to get going.
Orla, can I just check? I know you'd mentioned the money hasn't come yet. Have you any idea when it's just I've spent my entire grant and I've spent it out of my core running costs, and I'm
Where are you, Andrew? Where are you based?
Ballygowan, Presbyterian.
Are you Ards and North Down?
Yeah.
Okay, Andrew. Yeah. I would say the delay for you is twofold. So I would say you really should be getting it within the next, I would say, 14 days.
Okay.
I can't promise you that, but we're working really hard to get that money paid off from council, and that's been the issue, Andrew. So apologies from that for that delay. So you've actually done all your purchasing, so you're waiting for money back from us.
Yeah, we've purchased everything. We've £33 left to spend, which is what I wanted to ask you about as well, because everything came in under budget. But it was all bigger items, so can I just buy like a bug hotel or something with that, or something?
I would certainly permit you to do that, but you need to pop that in a little document to us. So what we can do is I'll forward you. There's a little it's called a change control, and if you want to make any changes to your original proposal, you just pop it in there. Just keeps everything right from our side for an audit point of view. So what I'll do is I'll send that out to you by email, Andrew, and you'll just pop that on and say, look, we've £33 underspend, can we buy a bug hotel? And then I'll basically sign that off. And yeah, as long as it's absolutely pertaining to your overall aims and objectives of your grant, that's not a problem. We're happy that they're, to not incur underspend, and if you feel that you can buy something that will add to your project with that underspend, more than happy to get that signed off for you.
Okay, and then roughly once we submit the final project evaluation, how quickly do we expect to get the final 50%? Well,
again, that's subject to capacity, I suppose, at our side at the minute. So if you're actually probably we probably weren't expecting to hear anybody had completed all their purchases, so that's amazing. So well done. So what I would say is that that's on us then to try and make that for you. We usually like to say, from an internal running point of view, we usually like to say 3 to 4 weeks from submission of claim, you'll get your balance. So have you uploaded anything yet?
Yeah, everything's uploaded.
You've uploaded everything? Okay.
Yeah, bank statement, everything. I just haven't done the final project completion because we're just having a slight issue with getting that done.
Have you notified us that you've uploaded everything?
I just uploaded it. I didn't do anything else.
Aye. Okay. So this is a really good question and really, really helpful for everybody. We don't have an alert on our system, so it would be obviously I would be mainly coming to verifying claims around the end of the claim period around November time. So if you have completed your project in advance and you have gotten in there ahead of the game, you would need to let us know that, because we usually allow the running time of the whole project before we start to look to verify in a proactive way. So if you can drop us an email, Andrew, and just say, look, you've finished your purchases, I assume, you have uploaded all of your claim, and then that alerts us to the fact that it's there ready for verifying. And then I would usually allow 3 to 4 weeks, depending on capacity, to kind of get to that and get that turned around for you. So if you can pop that off to me as soon as possible, we'll address that for you. Where are you in terms of your project then? If you've done all the purchasing, so where are you in terms of the project itself?
We've had a slight stumbling block. It's our land, and we had this conversation at the workshop. It's our land and everything's okay, but the committee that oversees our property has decided that they now no longer want us to redevelop that small piece of land. So we're at an internal pause, but it is going through internal process at the minute, and that's the only reason why it hasn't been completed. The original completion date we had set was the 19th of August, but these guys just are not being helpful.
Right, and so in terms of what you've purchased then, where does that leave you? I presume there's plants in there as well?
No, we didn't get any funding for plants. It was all for picnic benches and planters and stuff, and then we were going to fund the plants ourselves.
Okay, all right, no problem. So that's Ballygowan
Presbyterian, yeah. So currently all of this stuff is lying in the middle of my youth space, which has to come back into action from Saturday, so it's a bit tense at the minute.
Yeah, oh no. So your project timeline's been pushed back a bit. You went ahead and purchased everything, but just haven't the opportunity to complete your project. Okay. So what I would, in these circumstances, this is quite unique, and hopefully it's helpful to everybody else on the call, but it is quite unique that that's the case. So what I would do is I would be verifying your claim up to 50%, and then I would be releasing the rest of it when you've actually done your project, because we need to know that those items that you purchased are being put to the use that you originally outlined in your application. So we would withhold the 50% until you've actually completed your project.
Yeah, I think I don't know who it was I'd emailed, but I'd emailed in mid-July to say that we purchased, and they'd said they would sort the 50% for us, and then it never happened.
That's probably why it never happened, because we're having an internal issue around getting those monies out that I referred to at the start. So yeah, apologies for the delay on that. So that will be what we'll do. We'll get that 50% out to you hopefully as soon as possible, and then the end part of it will be after we know that you've finished off your project. So
okay, that'd be great.
So thanks, Andrew. Hopefully that's helpful to others as well. But anybody else as far ahead as Andrew?
Hi, I'm Kay. I'm having problems with my video here. I can't get it on. Yes, we applied for a shed, and we got it in all of July and sent all the papers in.
So you completely done and dusted?
Yes, yeah, we're completely done on that. We did apply for other stuff, but
yeah. So what's your group's name?
Malile Health and Wellbeing Group.
Again, you're based in Ards and North Down, yes?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So as you've realised, we're just finalising getting the money in for that. So so yeah, it's absolutely fine. As soon as we have that sorted, which I really hope it will be in the next week to 2 weeks, we're gonna hit go on all of that for Ards and North Down. So I apologise for the delay. So you've actually used your own cash flow for that then, Kay?
Yes, we purchased stones and everything, trolleys, other things that we had on the grant. We still needed them anyway, so we went ahead and purchased
So in
them.
terms of your claim, have you gone up and you've uploaded everything, have you?
Oh yes, you got it at the end of July.
Okay, no problem. Well, I can't look at it now because I don't have the other screen, but what I will do is I will take a look at it, and if there's anything outstanding, because there may well be, given that you guys are kind of a wee bit ahead of the game here, which is brilliant. I just want to be sure that all of that evidence is there. So it would be the invoice, the procurement if it was over £300, and also the bank statement as well. But I'll take it on trust that that's there. If it's not, I'll drop you a line to say, look, this is what we're missing, then we can get that done. But look, the money we will get to you as soon as we possibly can.
Yeah, that's okay. Good.
I think 2023 small grants are going to be top of the class for.
Well, I'm absolutely. Last year I was phoning people in January going, why haven't you started your project? So this is unusual, but let's hope it continues.
Yeah.
Now, can I come in there just on a point of, it's Martin Spackman here from the Westcourt Centre. We're based, we're the men's shared skills group based at the Westcourt Centre in Barrack Street. And that we have presently undertaken quite a bit of clearance work and stuff on some of the beds that we have intended to plant up and replant up and install some window boxes around the site. If I furnish you with all of the costs by the 31st of October, is that okay?
Absolutely. Now, when you say all of the costs, everything that you paid for, through the bank, oh, absolutely, absolutely.
It's just that at the minute our cash flow in the men's shared skills group is absolutely zilch. You know, I don't have anything in the account, and I have to source, you know, the financing of it from another source or whatever. You know, but as long as
have you read your letter of offer? We can release you 50% up front to get, you know, to assist you with this. So
well, I already replied to that, and I haven't got anything as yet. You know, but
where are you based?
Sorry,
where are you based, Martin?
I'm based at Barrack Street in Belfast.
In Belfast, okay, Grant. Okay, we should have released that.
Well, let me say this: I haven't checked the account of late because we don't have a facility for an online bank account. Believe it or not, we're with AIB, and they don't provide such for men's shared skills groups. You know, I'll have to go to the bank tomorrow and check through the account to see what's in the account. Unfortunately.
So just to be clear, did you email us asking us to release you 50%?
I asked for guidance as to the way I could get the finance in order to start the process off.
Right.
And as I said, we have already engaged in the process of clearing the intermediate work in that's going to take place in order that we can get into buying those particular items and then putting them into place.
Great. But in terms of financing it, have you emailed us directly and asked us for 50%?
I do believe that there was an email. I don't have it to hand at the minute.
Not ringing a bell in my head, which is why I'm asking. I've been across all of these requests.
I'll take that up tomorrow.
If you haven't, you'll need to. Yeah, that's brilliant. Okay. So what's your group's name, did you say? The Westcourt Centre?
Yeah, it's the Men's Shared Skills Group.
Men's Shared Skills Group, definitely not ringing a bell. So what you'll need
it's Westcourt Centre based at Barrack Street, and we are one of the groups who utilise that site and facilitate the health and well-being of elderly men. You know.
Well, I'm delighted you got a grant for that, Martin. That's fabulous.
It's slightly more complicated, I think, from our side, and Orla will back this up. But because a lot of the funding comes from councils, so we're dealing with a lot of different councils, and all their funding comes in at different times, and we're dealing with different people in different councils. That's why we're asking you what council area you're in.
Yeah, sorry, I should have explained that.
Comes in at different times, and we're dealing with different people, so it's all a bit of an admin kind of logistical nightmare. But and some come in faster than others, but they're all sort of more or less there, or aren't they? So
we're nearly there with all the councils, but that's, Linda's absolutely right. I should have explained that. This is dependent on us getting the money from the councils to actually then, you know, distribute out to you. So, but that's why Belfast should be fine, because Belfast, I think I got them cleared off about a month ago. So yeah, you'll need to ask us for the 50% by email, as it says in your letter of offer. So I would say to everybody, the letter of offer is super important. You really, really need to read the letter of offer. That guides you through everything you need to know. And then we'll follow that up then with how to claim your grant, which is how to upload the documents to the portal. Read your letter of offer, and that'll tell you how we can fund this for you. And once we get that in from you, Martin, we'll be hopefully able to process that off, and you'll get it within 10 to 14 days.
Martin, are you Martin? Are you the Half Moon Lake? No,
we're not. No,
that's different.
We're referring. And my apologies for using the term the men's shared skills group. That's because we don't have a shed. Okay, we're on the complex at Barrack Street. We're based there. The client facilitates our group, and we meet up there on a regular basis. But we're trying to, as a city-centred facility, we're trying to improve the presentation of the facility, green the space a lot better, and we've made strident efforts to do that over the past number of years. We've got planters and a sort of a very, very small allotment of 5 or 6 raised beds, plus the exterior of the site we believe is an appropriate facility to enhance the whole scope of a place, city centre focused, you know, and it's on a main arterial route for the glider and stuff like that, you know, so it will have a significant impact on the presentation of the facilities there.
Great, good to hear. Lovely. Well, thank you, and thanks for coming on.
No problem. Thanks very much for the time.
Suppose another thing I'd like to say, usually, okay, Jerry, thank you. Thanks for coming. Usually we also will be doing site visits. So we won't unfortunately be able to do that at the moment, given capacity, but we usually like to try and do them toward the end of your project or at the end of your project. So we do look forward to hopefully getting out there and seeing your space and seeing the work that you've done. So that's another thing to
I think do please take lots of photographs and take videos, and take photographs now before your project starts. It's always really impactful to be able to see, you know, everybody loves it before and after, or before, during and after. So please do make sure, and then we can kind of celebrate your project when it's done, and make sure you all get in photographs. We get a lot of photographs of fields and spaces and stuff, and nobody likes getting their photographs taken, but it's lovely to be able to see the people that are actually making these spaces come to life. So jump in a few photographs, even if you're, you know, messy hair, no makeup and dirty hands. Please do jump in the photographs and let us see who's doing all the hard work.
Exactly, and that's a good time to add to that, Linda. Today, by coincidence, we're working on last year's impact cards that go to the councils, go to all the important people to see the impact of the work we've been doing, and as part of that, we're putting together case studies. So today we were talking about that and trying to identify who would be a really good case study out of each council area. So that's the aim really for your project, is to have to just do it to the best of your ability, and to really utilize, I suppose, the money, and to have that real positive impact. And some great photos and a few quotes from your group can go a long way. You know, we will then use that, and who knows,
that's also really good for any future funding that you may.
Future funding, yeah.
PR, or, you know,
PR funding,
you know,
videos,
council representatives, anything like that. It's really, really good for future applications. So that PR sort of bit really helps you guys as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Orla, hi, Sandra here again. Orla, can I ask you, you were alluding to it earlier on about just the movement that there is within your allocated budget to the I was out again on Monday, as I said to you the other day, and come back to just the pricing, because some of ours is for trees, 2 different sort of lots of trees, because they're going to 2 different places. And whenever I was getting my original quotes for the application, they were under the £300 each sort of lot. So I've been back to the girl and she said, well, believe it or not, she said some of these trees haven't gone up in price as much as what she had thought, because she was trying to give me a realistic figure, because I said, look, we'd probably not be purchasing them until near September, and that was way back. I was trying to get the price, I think that was May, June. So there is a bit of space. So can I mean, I would have loved if I could buy, because there, you know, there is going to be a little bit of wriggle room, I suppose, within the money. Is it okay if we do things like we buy a couple of extra trees in that? They'll all be going into the same places. It'll not be that they'll be going anywhere else. They'll either be going into the planters or they'll be going into the that shared wall space that we have.
Absolutely, we don't have a problem with that, but I would caveat that with don't go ahead and do it without permission.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll get that change control. It's just a little Excel spreadsheet. It's called a change control, but it's basically an Excel spreadsheet where you put in your original thing that you asked for, and maybe change, you know, the value and the changes, and you put it in, pop it through to us. We either say yes or no, and that just means that there's been a formalized amendment to your original letter of offer, which is really, really important for audit. But yes, we generally are very flexible as long as it's within the parameters of meeting the aims of your project, and we do know prices change. And
that's a really nice problem to have, isn't it? That they're not going to
they're not as dear.
Quoting me like 50 odd pounds for some of these trees. I was thinking, what at the time? And then now around £40. So
you know, we understand then, yeah, and that's fine, absolutely.
And I'm so sorry about that, but I underestimated the price of the bulbs, because now that we're involving, there's a primary school and another group of children, so they are gung-ho about wanting to plant these bulbs. So I think I'm maybe use, but I will put that all in the caveat as to where it has come, but it'll be definitely within that money.
Of course, we do understand the prices change from the time of application. You know, things can change. Projects can change midway through, you know, maybe something is donated, or there's just lots of variances, and we try and allow for that flexibility. We just won't allow for something completely different. We won't allow for you to buy yourself a nice I don't know, a nice new wheelbarrow for your garden, you know. So it's as long as it's within the parameters of the original award.
The only holding us a little bit at the moment, I'm still waiting. We're in Uriamore District Council, and Jonathan, I have gone through him, because where we're putting a seat that we've budgeted for, it probably will need TNI, you know, Transport NI's permission, just to say I've sent them all the measurements, I've sent the photographs, the description of where it'll be, but I just haven't got that back. So I have the seats all ready and good to go. Haven't written the check yet, but certainly it's just, I'm going to have to chase it up again. I don't know what else you can do with that. I mean, but it has to, you know, you'd be foolish to go ahead and install the seat and secure it. Well, they could tell us to lift it and take it away. They could do that, I suppose, and we'd have to put it somewhere else.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I would probably wait and hear from Jonathan on that one. That is definitely a tricky one. But you've already purchased the seats. It's just you're not able to.
The guy has made it, and he's not in a rush for his money. But I do want to get the check. I do want to get it away to him and get that. So it may be a case that could be the very last thing we end up doing. Actually, is putting the seat in. It might be the last.
Well, there is a bit of flexibility at the end as well. I mean, we don't. This is another thing to clear up for people, is that the spend is the 31st of October, but as in many cases, we don't fully expect to see a pristine completed project on the 31st of October. You know, we do understand that there might be delays, or there might be a reason that you can't get planting something, or etc., etc. So there's a bit of wiggle room at the back end anyway, for tying off your project. It's just we do, you know, there will be a cut off for that, and we were aiming for it to be just before Christmas, which may still remain dependent on how we go with this financial flow situation, but yeah, so if you haven't got your seat in by the 31st of October, don't be panicking that you haven't got a project sitting ready to go. We're trying to say that to everybody, but we do usually put an end date on it for your grant completion form. So which is we were aiming for before Christmas.
Okay, because when I go back to the trees, because we were sort of putting them into two different areas, I priced one lot was under 200, and then there was another lot with just over 200. So that I'll be writing those checks separately for that, so they wouldn't need another quote then for those. You know, I know the totality of that is just over £400, but they're actually.
Is it from the same supplier?
It ended up it is going to be from the same supplier.
And then I'm gonna ask for a second quote, because it's just you're paying one supplier £400. So for procurement,
Yeah.
it's going to be, it doesn't matter that it's individual trees within that, if you look at it that way.
Well, that's I understand that.
Yeah.
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 No,
So
that's fine.
it's a second quote from another nursery or a garden centre or anywhere you can go. But we will need it, because it just means that you've showed best value for money. You haven't just gone to your neighbour who's in the garden centre and paid them £400. So that's why that procurement's there. I know that individually they're coming in under 100, but if they're all from the same supplier, that won't apply.
It ended up that way. Yeah. Okay.
So no problem. Yeah, and also you'll also know from previous grants, Sandra, that your check will have to have cleared, and you'll have to submit the bank statements for your claim, because I know that for marine litter we had that.
Right.
We can't accept just checks. It has to be the bank statement as well to show that the check is cleared.
Yeah. Okay. Because when you start uploading it, there isn't any way of seeing it, because sometimes I'm going back, you know, you maybe put up a certain amount of stuff on the portal, and you go back and you think, oh, did I put that invoice, or did I put that receipt in? And there's no way of going into your portal until at the very end, because it isn't, you don't see everything until the very end, and you've submitted all your documentation. Am I right in saying that?
I don't think so. I think you can upload as you go, and when you go in, your whatever you've uploaded should be there for you to see and amend as needed.
Okay, I'll have a look at it again.
Yeah, we've got the guidance, which will be sent out again anyway. But if you do have any problems, as far as I know, you can see everything, and that's why people do it as they go along as well. They don't often don't do it all in one go, and I would encourage you to do it as you go along, just so you know you've done it and got it up there. You know,
That's good. Thank you. Thank you.
all right, no problem. Great questions, by the way, very useful. Has anybody else got anything they want to ask or say or update us on, tell us about?
I'll just jump in there for a couple of minutes just to tell you the backdrop to where we are. We're the Men's Shared Skills Group, as I said, and we're based at Westcourt Centre. The group is specifically designed to cater for people who live in solitary circumstance or what they call social isolation, and primarily for men 50 plus age bracket. You know, we have eight members on the site, and they drop in now and again to the site. Although we have a formal meeting on a Tuesday, they're still active throughout the other periods of time, you know, fixing the site and tidying around the site and that, you know. As I said, I welcome this opportunity for Live Here, Love Here, because of the fact that it's a great opportunity to enhance an area that is within the city centre. And I'm pleased at the fact that the impact of what we've done over the past couple of years has been very well acknowledged by people using the facility, both using the facility and passing comment, you know, from people who use the area. So
Brilliant.
We're getting ready again, you know, to obviously into that spring planting sort of theme again, you know, with daffodils and flowers and stuff, you know. But we did manage to manufacture some window boxes, but those window boxes have become a wee bit depleted and need replaced, you know. So the idea here is to replace those and extend the opportunity of increasing the product from the raised beds as well.
Love it, love it. And have we ever funded you before?
No, we drew funding from Belfast City Council, and we drew funding from Volunteer Now. So those are the primary places that we drew funding from. This year,
this is your first Live Here, Love Here grant.
This is the first Live Here, Love Here, Live Here, Love Here opportunity for us. You know,
delighted to hear
we're very pleased that it has been accepted. The difficulty that we have is that Belfast City Council no longer provide funding, you know, because obviously they've gone through a bit of a cutback on groups and stuff. But Live Here, Love Here has been a timely thing for us, and I welcome that. And I want to thank everybody for their help and assistance in putting it forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Martin. That's lovely to hear, and I'm sure Linda will agree with me that these are our signature grants. These grants have been running since 2010. Would it be 10 years? I think next year's our 10th year, 2014. And we really try hard to protect them. And we do have to, really negotiate with the council to keep them, because it's obviously the funding comes from the council to be distributed out amongst the community. So we're so proud to still be able to do that 9 years later. And we're hoping to just keep being able to do it with those relationships with the councils, because
one of the key elements of that is that it is Belfast City Council premises. The location of the premises is within the city centre of Belfast, and that's where primarily I think, I mean, it's at a glider, one of the key glider stops, and one of the tourist corridors, for people visiting the city and stuff, and that's exactly where we wanted to improve and enhance the area and green it a bit more. I do have we do have a small issue, and maybe perhaps at some point in time, Live Here, Love Here might be able to help us with that, and that is that there's a land definition that belongs to the Department of Infrastructure, I think, and they are a bit negligent in terms of the care and attention that they facilitate, for the trees, the copsing of trees and stuff, So we have an annual pilgrimage to them in order to try and get the trees copsed, and because there's quite a lot of leaf fall across the site, and it doesn't help, but that's another issue, We may well relate to you to give us a wee bit of support maybe for that at a different time,
Maybe down the line when we've a wee bit more capacity.
When you know a wee bit more about the site and stuff, yeah.
I think that this is a great sort of learning curve as well, because obviously, we now have the relationship with you guys, which is great that we can develop this, funding that comes from council as well. So hopefully if we can get, it's building those relationships, and the more you can get council on board and get them out to your site, you can build those relationships and start having those conversations as well, about maybe, joint working or collaborating or, helping each other, because obviously if council see what great work you're doing in an area, that can take some off their plate maybe, or vice versa. It's those kind of joint relationships that really get stuff done in areas as well.
Just to follow up on that point, we have a relationship with other men's sheds as such, and some of those men's sheds offer services and stuff like that, but they have a currency within their own of requirement. And that, is it okay to source materials from them, provided that the invoice is properly detailed and that the check goes through?
100%. It's right up my.
Because what I believe is that the money that we've been granted, whilst it's come to a group who have qualified for that grant, I believe it's appropriate where we make the best of that grant to give it to other groups who are meaningful and likewise minded, in terms of their objective. All right.
Do you want a job?
You're speaking our language, Martin.
You could have a job. You could be a spokesperson. We're singing from the same hymn sheet.
We encourage people to use
my principle of it is that if it's made round to go round, make sure it goes round. So
circular economy, and that's what we are all about, and we do try and persuade and encourage people to do that as much as possible. On that note, we have a list of suggested suppliers and local suppliers on our website and our biodiversity page. So if you want to go on there's lots of different local garden centres that's been recommended to us.
The link in the
local
there
businesses.
if you want to have
brilliant. Yeah,
if you want to have a look.
You've already done that. So it just means that you're, and I shouldn't say this, but rather than go to B&Q, which we really would love you not to do, you're going to your local business, you're supporting local and people who are serving the community, because we are community focused. That's what we do. And as much of that as possible, we would love to encourage through the spending of the grant. So
thank you.
Sandra's asked a question. I don't know if you can say it, Orla. I'm not sure if it's a direct message.
I haven't.
Just if biodiversity offered us site visits out to sites for a bit of advice, I suppose. Sandra, is that what you're thinking?
Yes, thank you. Yes, because when we were thinking about involving the children, it was one of the people in our group was saying it would be nice. I had mentioned I'd done the Q&A with the biodiversity, and someone was asking, that would be a nice thing to do, you know, maybe have the children from the school. I know there is a biodiversity officer in our Newry Moor District Council, but you would have to book Danielle, and she just works certain hours. Now, I'm not saying she wouldn't do it, but I didn't realise that you had Orla, now your new biodiversity officer, and I wasn't sure if she comes out and does site visits.
As it stands at the moment, unfortunately, we don't have the capacity for that. She primarily is working on a dedicated project of delivering trees, planting in schools. So most of her time will be dedicated to project delivery. So she wouldn't have time to do site visits per se, which is why we kind of used her for those webinars. Unless our capacity grows, I don't know what else we can offer. I'm sorry, Linda, do you have any?
Well, yeah, the likes of the council
we would usually say the council
biodiversity strategy, and they will have their own. Well, you obviously know who the biodiversity coordinator is there. So the likes, you know, again, sometimes men sheds, other community organisations, the conservation volunteers are quite a good shout. They're quite good at coming out and helping out and offering kind of workshops and things like that. So yeah, have a wee look around and see. Hopefully, you know, we are as Orla says, we're very hopeful that our capacity will grow quite soon and we'll be able to offer more. You know, I think if you have there is, as Orla said, there's the biodiversity page on our website, which has a lot of good info, but yeah, there's a lot of good people in the community doing things as well. So yeah, reach out maybe to the conservation volunteers.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was the other night. I mean, she was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
just brought a lot of stuff to life, and it was fantastic. I just think it really is a help to people, because people don't know that. Just that something of showing the yearly calendar of the right across the spectrum of trees, bulbs, plants for spring, summer, autumn, winter, that your group, if they were thinking of planting, that they would know, because when it comes down to that, there were some things like daffodils, for instance. Everybody thinks daffodils are, but they're not as high up the list on the biodiversity. And it was things like that. You know, so we've sort of changed some of the bulbs that we're going to buy now as well. So I really had her input into this. It has been fantastic.
There is also as well, Sandra, on our biodiversity page, there's a YouTube channel. There's a YouTube link to our YouTube page, and there's a reams and reams of videos, all sorts of things. But if you scroll down a good bit, there's a lot on growing your own and seasonal planting and hedges and all sorts of stuff. So that's kind of a wealth of information. Not as good as a workshop, but it's definitely good, and you know, quite child friendly and stuff as well. So you might get some tips on that.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
great. Well, if there's no other questions, queries, or that's been very useful. Even thank you for your input, everyone, and for your feedback and for your questions as well. And hopefully that will prove useful for anybody watching back on the recording as well. And do drop me a line if I've overlooked anything. I know Andrew and Sandra, I need to get the change control out to you. Okay, I need to get your claim signed off as soon as I possibly can, and Andrew is the same. No, Andrew, you weren't at change control. Who was the change control? Oh, that person's gone. But anyway, there. Oh no, you are, Andrew. You did.
That was
£33. Yeah, you did £33. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Andrew, I'll email you and Sandra that now. And you can just get that submitted to us. And as I say, we're doing our best with the money side of things. So bear with us. And if you do get that automated message, bear with us, and we promise we are here. It's just we're carrying a very heavy kind of work schedule, so we will get back to you, but try not to panic. So if everybody's happy, I suppose we'll just say good evening and allow you to enjoy the rest of that lovely evening.
Thanks very much, everybody. All the best.
Thanks so much for coming, guys.
Cheers.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.